Could you just introduce yourself and the position here at UKAT?
My name is Dimitra Theofili. I work the last 7 years at Bamboo Lodge. I'm the lead therapist and I'm also eating disorder specialist.
And in terms of eating disorders, which will be the main focus of today's conversation, what are some common misconceptions that you think need to be addressed when people start thinking about eating disorders?
There are a lot really. One of the basic one is that people tend to think that it's a female disease, which is not. We did have a lot of male clients as well, which is more difficult for them to ask help because of the whole stigma. It is a female disease, that's a big misconception of eating disorders. From working with doctors and professionals, another issue that I have observed is that people believe that the only eating disorder is anorexia, which is not. The system expects you to be really skinny to get help. Otherwise, they're not going to support you, which is quite sad.
How does their relationship alter when they see food?
It can be something that is destroying their life in a way. Food can bring a lot of fear. The eating disorder will affect all of their relationships, including their relationship with food. It can make them unable to attend events, to go to weddings, to birthdays. It can make them isolate. It can make them avoid their friends. It can damage the relationship with the children because they have to eat alone or they don't have to eat at all. So it does change the whole quality of life really.
And in turn, do you feel that that would affect someone's mental health because they're subconsciously trying to isolate themselves from people?
Of course. Eating disorders have the highest death rate among all of the mental disorders. And this is usually because of suicide or self-harm, heart failure as well. But it does affect the mental health in an extreme way. It does make people quite despair, quite depressed. Isolation never helped anyone really. People need support. Humans do need support to survive. And the eating disorder will bring a lot of shame, a lot of guilt. They will make people isolate. It's not something that clients are ready to talk. Sometimes they have to really trust us because they actually start talking about having an eating disorder.
And you've mentioned that it has a really high suicide rate because of this, which most people would be surprised at because they think that people can just live their life with an eating disorder or they can get over it because it's a phase, so to speak. And media tends to romanticize or glamorize eating disorders.
Yeah.
If you think about ballet and anorexia, for example, or reality TV shows, obesity versus anorexia, that sort of thing. People don't really tend to think of it as a critical issue now. What's your professional opinion about how people can change that narrative and actually realise that eating disorders is something?
Yeah, I think that first of all, professionals need to get more educated around it. Most of people with eating disorders are treated by GPs that they don't have enough information or training about what is an eating disorder. The suicidal thoughts are usually because of the blood sugar swings. So basically when somebody is struggling with an eating disorder and they're not eating in a normal way, when I'm saying normal way, 3 meals a day, the blood sugar is going really down, which is affect the way that they will think, it will affect the way that the brain works, so they can feel quite suicidal quite often. Basically what's happening is that blood sugar swings is causing mood swings, and it does make people unable to function on the daily life. It does make in a way the brain not to work properly.
So in terms of like colloquialism around eating as a whole, we have the terminology like hangry, for example, which
of course.
Make people think, oh, I'm angry because I'm hungry, and then I've had it myself where I've eaten and I feel better for the day.
It's like filling the void and try to use food as comfort, which is quite common. I think that we all have done it. And have observed myself as well. If I skip breakfast, I will be more snappy than usual. I will be more irritable. I may even have headaches. We need to learn more about how is that connected with food and hunger.
Every individual is different in how they process food. Despite it biologically being the same system, everyone reacts differently. So some people can get diabetes, for example, with sugar, and some people can have allergies and so forth. So do you feel it's important that everyone should learn their own individual limits as well?
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned before social media, which basically they're passing the wrong information quite often. There is a big fear about carbs. We have a keto diet or other diets, and people think that they need to avoid carbs. However, our brain needs carbs for its own needs. We need carbs to survive, we need carbs for energy, we need carbs to think. So when people are learning to avoid carbs, it can actually destroy the blood sugar levels, and it can destroy the metabolism. They will be more vulnerable to develop diabetes. And it's a massive problem, social media, and what information they're passing to young people.
Have you seen a drastic change throughout your professional position?
Yeah, I think the last few years with influencers on Instagram, there is a big change. I do have a lot of clients, and I did have in the past as well, that they were struggling with that issue a lot because they felt that the information is true, is correct, and of course it's not. And they have to be like those people, they have to restrict. They learned that being hungry is not normal. They were feeling guilty for being hungry, which is really sad. And also so many wrong information, like white bread is bad, carbs are bad, eggs are bad, fruits are having too much sugar. So many things that are not correct, and they don't encourage people to eat with balance.
So you touched upon the feeling of shame and guilt, and overall, how do you feel what's the role that they play in maintaining unhealthy eating behaviours, and how can someone dismantle those feelings?
Yeah, massive role, I feel. Shame and guilt will bring a lot of isolation. It will make people stuck sometimes, trapped in the eating disorder. At Bamboo Lodge, we do treat people with addictions and eating disorders, and you can see that eating disorder clients will feel more ashamed. They will feel that they're disgusting, they cannot talk about it, that it does bring so much shame, that it is irrational, they don't feel like they're normal people. Shame and guilt is something that is very difficult to get over, especially in early recovery. I do always say to my clients that shame will lose its power if you're sharing about it in a safe place, and this is what our clients are doing with groups. The first time they will share about it and they will get that immediate support, it will lose some of its power, and people will be able to trust again and share and let the shame and guilt go.
And you've mentioned Bamboo Lodge, obviously, where you're primarily working from, and how we treat both eating disorders and addiction. What would you say to someone that's quite hesitant about treating their eating disorders at a rehab facility?
I think that they need to remember that eating disorder is an addiction as well. There is no difference really. Other people will use drugs, other people will use alcohol, porn, sex, other people will use food as a way to fill the void. I like to treat the addictive nature of the illness. The pricing can be quite addictive, the starving can be very addictive. It is, habit is a big thing. And again, when they're meeting other addicts, they do feel that connection, and they do get over their initial worry about, is this the right place? Why I need to be in a rehab facility? And from my personal experience, it does work better compared to being in a solely eating disorder unit, because there's so much competition, somebody's losing weight, I want to lose weight as well. Those kind of things that can get in the way of recovery.
And what does the role of nutrition overall play at Bamboo Lodge? Do you guys felicitate people that need to eat a specific diet, and because it's quite a strict routine at rehab. So how do you break through that?
So we do that with a lot of support on the beginning. We do have a discussion on the first day about the nutrient needs. We're making it clear that yes, we do want to support them, but we won't let them starve. So we're trying to find a balance between what they want and what we want, and try to teach them about eating. For example, we will encourage them a lot to have some protein, some good quality protein, some carbs for energy, some healthy fats, and we'll do basically nutritional education. So if the client is saying, for example, that I'm scared to eat steak, I will say, what is that will give to your body? They will think protein. So we're trying to teach them about what they're eating as a nutrient value instead of calories.
And because recovery from an eating disorder, so once someone leaves the rehab and they've lived with that support for how many days their program is, what does the recovery look like? Because it can be different for each individual. So what's a generic way that can look like for someone?
So we do try before they leave to help them build a recovery capital. We're talking about the importance of meetings, the importance of connection, connect with other people. We will give them a list of meetings in their area. We also provide aftercare, which is a group therapy that they can attend weekly for a year. We do focus a lot on relapse prevention. I like to use relapse cards, for example, with eating disorders, which is help them to resist on urges, to act on impulsive behavior. So basically we want them to have a plan before they leave on how they will resist on cravings. I will ask them who is going to be the first person they're going to call. I will ask them to save alumni phone number on their phone, so there will be a lot of support. And at the same time, I don't want them to feel that it is the end, because it's not. And the recovery is a continued journey. And I want to be honest, and I'm telling them that you're not going to be fixed, you're not going to be cured. We're giving you some skills, and we'll going to give you support when you're at home. But you need to keep trying. You need to go to meetings. You need to find a therapist if you need.
And when you have an eating disorder, you can disassociate from your own body, and you can disconnect from what you see in the mirror to what everyone else can see.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest, or in your opinion, how can someone begin to reconnect with their own body once they've acknowledged that they do have an issue and they've gone through that support?
I will advise people to start with mindfulness and meditation. It does help people to take control over the feelings. It is a long journey. However, when people start attending fellowship meetings, we do encourage our clients to attend Anorexia and Bulimics Anonymous meetings. Hearing from other people, it's like they can see the insanity of addiction. They can see all of these people are beautiful, and they're calling themselves overweight. So they do start having second thoughts about their body. We do encourage about values in life. They're not about body and shape, about identity aspects that they have that are quite strong, about good values that they have, to help them love themselves a bit more, and with continuous support.
And in terms of how people view food, so how important do you feel that we should try and disconnect moral judgments of what food is? So for example, someone could look at a piece of cake and think that's bad, but I will look at a piece of celery and say that's good. But why is that unhealthy in itself?
Yeah, it's not about balance. That's the main problem. And most of our clients, when they're coming, they will name some food as bad, and they will name food as good. And it's basically what you said. The bad food will be pasta, cream, cookies, and the good food will be only salad. So we do have to teach them a lot about, that's not exactly true. Salad won't give you protein, salad won't give you energy. It will give you, it is good for your body and it will give you some good nutrients, but it's not enough. So we do a lot of nutritional training. We do have nutritionists as well that will see the clients to teach them more about what they need to eat.
And in terms of, we've touched upon mental health support, and I'm assuming at Banbury Lodge that's what they'll primarily get, as well as on top of all the nutritional kind of support and pushback. But in terms of the role that plays in treating both synonymously, because I'm assuming you have to get to the root causes of why someone has an eating disorder.
Yeah.
So how does that go? How would that go about being begun at Banbury Lodge, for example, with yourself? How would you begin to try and get to the root causes of that?
Of course. So in our first session with the client, we will discuss the care plan. So the clients will bring a few things about their story, their lives. We're going to ask specific questions. It's basically like any other addiction. Usually there is a trauma there. There is something that kicked the eating disorder into life. Maybe bullying at school, maybe a difficult relationship with parents, maybe abuse or something happened. So we do encourage people to be honest. We do encourage people to let go of all of that shame and guilt around trauma as well, and get the right support. We will make a plan as well for when they leave. A few clients might need more trauma treatment, for example. But what I found really useful for me as working at Banbury Lodge is that all of our therapists have different approach. So I'm eating disorder specialist, I'm also trauma therapist. We have other therapists with their personal center, CBT, so the clients can take something for every single one of us and find something that can improve their quality of life.
Why do you feel that people find it okay to comment on people's weight? So it's so natural for someone to say, "Oh, you look really good, you've lost weight," or "Oh, you're okay, you seem to be looking a bit worn out," or "You've put on weight, is everything okay?" Why do you think that people find that acceptable when everyone knows that weight is such a sensitive issue to everyone?
That one is a big question, and I got distracted for a second because I thought about my life, about my past, and I was thinking about how upset I was getting when people were commenting about my weight. And I did had binge eating disorder in the past, so I was struggling a lot with controlling my food intake. And back then, everything was a trigger. Everything was a trigger. You look, why you're neglecting yourself, or why your body changed. Everything was. It was a big thing, I think. And to be honest, I don't know why people have the need. I think it's a lot about lack of training. I think that there is a myth about eating disorder that's it's just lack of control or lack of self-will, which is not. It is an addiction, like any other addiction. It's not lack of self-will. It's not lack of willpower. It's not lack of self-control. And all of those phrases that you mentioned in the comments will make people isolated. And I do remember myself when I was 14, 15 years old, that I was keep procrastinating. I wasn't doing anything because I had to lose weight. I had to lose weight to wear a dress. I had to lose weight to go for holidays, or to buy something nicer to wear. I had to lose weight. That was the biggest aspect of my life. And looking back, it's quite sad because I did have a good life, but I couldn't see it because I was stuck in that pattern.
I feel it's a very common thing, especially all over both genders as well. I feel like men have the insecurity of having to be bulked up or gym enough.
Exactly, and each body is different, and this body is beautiful, and we need to remember that. You mentioned about men, and they need to be more muscular in a way. And there is a new term on the eating disorder field that it's called muscular dysmorphia, which basically diverse anorexia in a way. So it's affecting men mainly, but also women, that they feel they have to use the gym a lot, they have to exercise a lot. They do see their body smaller than it is, so they do feel that they're smaller like other men, even when they have a healthy body or a very muscular body. So it does affect men and women. It is something that is quite important. And I don't know why nobody can control those influencers. I can see myself getting angry at times, because I had an unroutine client in the past, and she was so affected by an influencer that basically was asking people not to eat. You're weak if you eat. You cannot eat. If you want to be like me, you need to starve. Which is, so unhealthy and can actually kill somebody.
What are some key strategies for maintaining a healthy relationship with food, especially when someone is in recovery?
Yeah, I think that the main one is to keep having a good routine. Skipping meals is quite risky. In a rehab facility, we will ask our clients to eat at least 3 meals every day, and it's really important to continue with that pattern when they return home. If they skip a meal, it can be a massive trigger. It will bring the blood sugar down again. It is a very risky thing to do. So keeping a healthy routine is really important, and clients that do well, they do have that healthy routine. They're not going to skip meals. They will have fruits, they will have salad, they will have protein, they will have some healthy carbs as well. So it is a lot about balance, and it's a lot about also talking. It's about sharing about their feelings, about getting support. One really important thing is to educate the family as well. It's really important for us to have a session with the family before the clients return home, to train them about the things that you mentioned before. Don't comment about their weight, don't ask them to eat more, don't ask them to have pasta, don't ask them to have cakes if they don't want to. So we do need to involve the family.
You've mentioned routine. Is it a question of changing the narrative of the routine? Or do you want people to break free of a routine before they start a new one? Because it could be quite, could it be quite triggering for someone to have a routine and then think, well, this routine is not linking into how I normally am, and having another routine so extreme can also mess with people. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, it's a difficult question, really. So we do have to challenge the routine. What works for me in all of the addictions is that fake it until you make it a thing. Challenge the habit, challenge the routine that you had before you entered recovery that didn't help you. So from the old routine, what didn't work? What kept you stuck on the addictive nature of your disease? And it's about trying to change your routine, but in small steps. For example, I wouldn't expect any client with eating disorder to eat completely normally tomorrow. It will be a slow progress, but we're going to try, for example, to challenge the breakfast as routine. If you're not eating breakfast at all, try to have something. That can be initially a banana, and then long term, an egg, which is a good source of protein, but we do that with a lot of support and one step at a time.
And seeing as it's Christmas and Christmas is coming up, the holidays, especially Christmas, tend to amplify these challenges that people have that with the eating disorders. So why do you think that is?
The media, again, social media is a big thing. Adverts on the radio. I do remember last year when I was trying to work, I was working on Christmas Day last year, and when I was driving at work, on the radio it was saying, I'm gonna eat so much today, I'm gonna eat everything, I will have so much food, it's gonna be great, which is not, it's not. So basically, there's so much talk about food, and they do encourage binge eating, and it's a very scary period for people with eating disorder. It will bring a lot of fear. There's, the family gatherings, all of that food on the table, all of that sweet, which is not ideal for somebody in early recovery. And what I'm asking my clients to do, and their families, don't push themselves too much. If they feel that they're not ready to go in a big family gathering, don't go, that's okay. Go in a meeting instead, call alumni, call us. You don't have to do anything that you're not ready for. Or you can find a support network that they won't put your recovery at risk. You're going to be with people that they will make a safe plan for you for that difficult day. It's sad really, but I did mention Christmas is a sad day, and it is sad for people with addictions. It is a difficult day for them to pass, and it's really important to have the right support around them.
So making sure that your mental health is a priority around Christmas and around those trigger kind of holidays or special days is
and we do, especially before Christmas, we're always making a good plan with our clients that they're about to get home, what they will do to manage that Christmas period it's around. So we're going to ask them, for example, if they don't feel safe, you don't have to go to the grocery shop, because they will go, and we all know that those days there's sweets everywhere. There is, the minute that you're entering the grocery store, there's so much food that it will be quite triggering, and they don't have to put themselves at risk for early recovery.
And in terms of UKAT and what we can do, are we available for someone who's feeling a bit vulnerable around the Christmas time? Can someone call us on Christmas Day, for example?
Of course. Our clients do get alumni support for a life, really. There's a phone line that they can call when they're struggling. They can get a lot of support. They can call the treatment center as well if they would like some support. So, we do want to support our clients.
And in terms of us as a society, what do you think, in your professional opinion, we can do to felicitate a healthier view on food, especially for the younger generations growing up with that disadvantage of social media being everywhere prominently?
I think that we all need to rethink really about what we're doing around food. Another issue that came to my mind with that question is that all of those apps about MyFitnessPal, all those calories app, that basically they do encourage people to eat certain calories. Again, it's not about nutrients. It's really confusing for clients, and us as we need to give the right example in a way. Choose something that is healthier. Forget about calories. It is about balance as well. I'm not saying that we need to eat more, but choose right instead of choosing something because of the calories. To choose something that is nutrient.
And when people look at food, obviously, when you look at the calories and you think, oh, can I eat this? And it's now plastered on menus, or if you go to it's everywhere. So you even though they're saying to felicitate that healthy living, that we're putting the calories of a Starbucks drink or a McDonald's meal there, for someone that finds food triggering and that doesn't have a healthy view or worries about the calorie intake, that's something that can be triggering for people day to day, like a grocery store, like you said.
It is really triggering. It is a bad move. It was a bad move. I'm gonna keep saying that. It is a terrible move. It shouldn't be like this. I know that I don't have any power to change it, and I'm getting so angry every time that I'm going to a restaurant. You want to relax, and you can see how many calories a meal have. There's no need for that, and especially for young people, it's really, really confusing. I took a flight recently, and I was at Heathrow Airport, and I could see the calories everywhere. I heard a discussion between two young girls who were about to choose their food, and they were about to choose a chocolate or sandwich, and they were saying that the chocolate has, 150 calories, and the sandwich with smoked salmon and cream cheese has 400, so they went for the chocolate, which has no nutrient balance, and it is wrong. I mean, the smoked salmon will give you protein, the cream cheese will give you protein again and calcium. It is a much better choice. It's not about calories.
So what exactly is calories? So because it can be confusing.
Of course.
I know growing up at school that wasn't something really taught. It was just something automatically known that you look at the calories to see how much you're intaking, because women can have X amount of calories a day and men can have X amount of calories a day. So what exactly is calories, and why should people look at the nutrition value of things?
That's a very good question, because I do bring that in eating disorder workshops, and when I'm asking my clients what is that thing, what are calories, they will say something that will make us fat, and it's not. Calories is something that will not survive. It's something that will give us energy to function our daily life. We all need calories. As humans, we're not supposed to eat the same calories every day, so it's not about that. Of course, we don't want to encourage binge eating either, but it's basically what you said about balance. Do I have enough nutrients today? Do I have enough protein? Do I have enough calcium? Do I have enough vitamin A, B, C? It's more about that.
And again, just with the men versus women in terms of that, because women, everyone's body is different, but then the stark difference between a man's body and a female body, especially how females take in the fat compared to men. So how does that also affect even women and men on that scale, because they both get affected differently by media, by social norms, by expectations of people. So it's how can women and men together view food as one thing collectively, as something which is a good source, rather than something that will dramatically change their body, whether it's they want to put on muscles so they only eat protein, or if they want to lose weight so they only eat vegetables and salads. And so how can collectively, gender neutrally, can we look at food as one thing?
Again, with a lot of education around it. You mentioned something that in my mind when there's another myth of eating disorders. So, there's that myth that men need to eat more than women. And maybe that's true in a way. But again, it's about your body. So a tall man with normal weight might need to eat a bit more than a short woman, a short thin woman. However, there might be the opposite. A smaller man might need to eat less than a taller woman. So it is something that it's another myth, and it's coming a lot in treatment. I need to eat less because I'm a woman.
And just finally, Dimitra, so if someone's looking for that help, to get help for their eating disorder, because they finally, they're no longer in denial and they've acknowledged that they need that help, what makes UKAT the place for people to come?
They do have the opportunity to come for a visit, first of all, so they can come just to look around without having to pay anything. They can have a discussion with the therapy team, with the support worker, with the manager. They can see the rooms. We can have a face-to-face discussion about what will be in treatment. Of course, they can read our reviews. We have a really good reviews on Doctify, on Google as well. They can read other people's stories and alumni. There's a lot of things that they can help them. We do expect some denial, of course, because it is scary. However, it's a very powerful thing as well to make the decision to come into treatment.